fresh off the back of the lorry. Definitely something not quite right. Well, I'll give you the short story on this one. You heard it. It's come in. It's definitely got a little. It's definitely got some engine damage. We've gone through some diagnostic procedures with it, including dismantling and stripping a few things. We then reassembled it, took it for a test drive, that kind of thing, and a few phone calls with the customer. We are replacing the engine on this Landcruiser. It's very windy today, so I'm not going to do any live running commentary. I'll just put subtitles and stuff in the video. Let's get on with it. So we're just going to start draining the coolant, which is all the way, that thing down there, so you just twist it out and then the coolant will drain. Just let that do its thing. Clip here for the coolant lines, just there, you see it, I'm just tapping it there with the torch. Don't forget to undo that, and then we can undo the coolant hoses from this side, these little ones. There we go. And just grab the line and you just twist it like that. And then you just kind of pull back and wiggle. And hope that nothing snaps off of it. Wah! She was tight. Like a Toyota. And then follow the same process for undoing the lower hose clamp here. You may have to go underneath to get that one there, depending on where the clamp's oriented. So just down here, we've got one of the bolts that holds in the radiator. And then we've got another one just up here, and then the same on the other side. Whoops. The bolt actually goes in from that side. You don't actually remove that nut, that's my bad. So my air conditioning system has nothing in it, which is good for me, which means that I can just remove the lines. If you do have some refrigerant in yours, you want to go and get it recovered first and have the system evacuated before you do this. Save yourself the cost of a refill. I think once we've got the engine out, we're going to be replacing the air conditioning compressor here anyway, so that's probably why it's got nothing in it. Come on, let me have it. And then you two. Come on, get off. You usually just get stuck on the O-ring a little bit. There we go. Happy days. Right, we don't want to get anything in there, so we're going to cover that over. Little tip for you, I've got this one here covered now. Put a little glove over it so no dirt can fall inside. You can see there's like bits of dirt on the glove already. So it's worth doing that. Just pop something in here as well, just to stop you dropping anything down inside the turb ski. That wouldn't be good, especially if you're struggling to get it back out. basically just have to keep going around and unplugging everything. Get the intercooler off to get the injector stuff off. Just forgot to unclip a little vacuum line, nothing major. There we go. Gonna have to remove the power steering. You can see the 3 bolts, 1, 2, 3, just goes in there like that. Undo those, all 10mm. And we're gonna, I was gonna try and move it to one side, but we're definitely gonna have to unbolt it from the engine, so we might as well drain it out now. Let that drain out. So we're just going to undo this power steering line from down here. 17mm. Oh, that's tight. Okay, that is super tight, this thing. Not for the impact gun though. So I've just removed that completely now. You've seen me removing hoses. It's just exactly the same thing over and over again. Just tuck that hose there, here, and then the second hose I just tucked in here. So just basically the principle is just keep everything out of the way if you can, and just disconnect as much as possible. So we're going to carry on that vein now. We need to try and see that this hose here I just tucked up out here, and just use the hose clamp to catch it on there. Just keeps everything out of the way, neat and tidy, because that's what's going to stop you when you're trying to pull the engine out, is just things snagging. So we'll start disconnecting this alternator. Does that come off all the way? Yes it does, so we'll pull that off so we don't lose it. Don't want that to go flying off somewhere. Out you come. Put that back on there for super safekeeping. Then we've got to depress the button on that and then somehow pull the connector out. Oh, I hate all these connectors now. That's what I hate about doing engines. So I think we've got the whole loom disconnected. There's just there's one wire there that kind of wraps around the back, goes underneath somewhere. That's that side, and then it's basically the same story on the other side. Down here, just there, there's that wire there that also goes down underneath. So I think what we'll do is now we'll jack it up, and we'll start taking off some bits from the bottom. So I'm going to have to drop this skid plate, one bolt there, one bolt there, one bolt here at the front, one bolt there, and then the thing will drop down. So just where that bolt is up here, that's where one of the transmission cooler line brackets are. There's 3. There's another one just here on the bell housing, and then there's another one just up there in the middle. And once you've disconnected them all, obviously let them drain out, and then you can just slide the cooler lines and the brackets right out of the way. If they're out of the vehicle, it just means they can't get pinched or damaged or anything. So now we've undone that little electrical connector on this side here. The whole loom on this side here is free. So we can just fold that over that side of the car, and that means now this side of the engine should be completely clear and free now of just about anything. I'm sure we will find a couple of other brackets here and there, we always do, but we'll do our best to find them all. So just here's the oil filter, and just below that is the starter motor. It's held on with 2 nuts on the other side, and you slide it back here. It's got 1 plug and an electrical connection, and that is what we are going to remove next, which also starts the first of the bell housing bolts that hold this engine onto the gearbox. So let's get you a bird's eye view, shall we? So there is the starter motor. Sorry about the glare from the sun, so I also showed you from up top. Here's the plug that you have to undo, and then here's the hot wire, or the main live feed. It's tight towards the end. That's got to come off, and then we've got bell housing bolts. We've got one here, one above it for the starter motor, and then we've got 1, 2. And then 3, 4 at the bottom. There's also these 2 bolts here, hold a cover plate on, so we can get access to the torque converter bolts, so we can separate the gearbox from the engine. And then we've got 1, so we've got 1, 2 up there, and then there's a 3rd one you can see just up there hiding, and I reckon there will be 2 more right at the top that I can't see. We'll see if we can get a shot of those. And yes, it does look like there's some bolts at the top. There's also some more wiring, joy of joys, that will have to get moved out of the way. So you definitely need to drop the downpipe from the turbo, which bolts up just here with a couple of pinch bolts. I've just put this exhaust pipe on top of it, just leave it there for now. So that's done. Now we can hopefully in a minute get to our hidden bolt up there. You can just see it over the horizon, just up there. And then we've got the same to do up on this side here. We've got that bolt just there to get out, and then that's all the bell housing bolts done. Everything else is unbolted. That also holds on some wiring, you can see. And then we can start by pulling the engine away from the gearbox at that point. Oh no, we don't. We have to do the engine mounts as well. I forgot about that. So we've got all the bell housing bolts out. Now we need to remove the torque converter bolts. So I've removed one from there. There's 17 mils. There's 6 of them. So you just rotate it around, rotate the crankshaft. There's your next one. And what you have to do is, I've got a big flexible head ratchet here, and I go around the back side of that cross member to get in there with it. But you also have to you also have to, at the same time, you have to counter hold the crankshaft. So you have to, you have to hold on to that and sort of pull towards you a little bit, and then on the bolt back there you kind of push that way. So you can see there we've got a little 14mm bolt there. I've taken that one there out, and then there's a little nut just on the bracket below it, and I think that's all it is to remove this engine mount plate from the engine. I've never actually taken one of these off before, so I'm not 100% sure. There's also a nut on the top that we might have to undo. We'll find out soon enough. You can also unbolt it from the block as well, so there's plenty of options. I've left my chain in my other car, in my other van, which I don't have here. So it's going to be another episode of sketchy things I sometimes try but won't admit to if it all goes horribly wrong. Well, that went about as well as I expected. We'll just go buy a chain, I think, rather than break something. Kind of jumping ahead a little bit here. All I've done really, well, last time I checked in we were doing the mounts, and that's all I've done. Obviously it started raining really badly. I have pulled the engine up a little bit. What you have to do is lift it up and pull it out at the same time. So just lift it a little bit, then pull it out, then lift it a little bit, and then pull it out, because the sump hits one of the hits like the axle, steering axle and stuff on the bottom. So we're just going to carry on. She's clear now, we just need to lift it on out. We've still got quite a lot left to go. I think this one here is going to be remove the bonnet sort of dealio, unfortunately. Rather than remove the bonnet, all I've done is just unbolt the gas struts. It's 12mm, just a little bolt that goes into the bonnet. So I could probably just push it up the rest of the way now and get the engine out that way. There it is. That is one engine removed from a Toyota Landcruiser. Just for anybody's interest. Just get you a look at that so you can see where all the bell housing bolts are. The wiring loom basically just folds. It starts here on the engine and you pull the whole thing off, and then it all folds back onto that side of the car, which is fairly easy to get to. The one thing I did leave is I left the glow plug ground. I left the glow plug cable on, the bus bar cable. I left that on until I pulled the engine forward because it was a nightmare to get to, and I also left on the ground above, just above the bell housing. I left that on just until I could pull it away a little bit, and did that. Apart from that, the only thing I forgot was this here attaches to the engine as well, so you have to disconnect that. But not too bad. She's fairly easy. Not too bad of an engine to pull.